Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports Ball with Palmer. Hey, how about those Royals keeping them playoff hopes alive? They win their series against the Chicago White Sox, albeit a little frustrating series, at least to start, but it ended on a really good high note. So great to see that. Though before I recap that series and then also recap the Braves series against the Marlins, I'm just going to kind of take a look, high overview um, of the Royals season, at least their records against their opponents. So obviously they just played the White Sox, so I'll start there. They take the season series against the White Sox 12-3. So they continue their dominant, really, honestly, probably should have been one loss, maybe two, but oh well. At some point, the White Sox probably are going to make this a little bit more of a competitive series, but at least right now, the Royals just continue their dominance over the Chicago White Sox over the last several seasons. So, and this will be the last time after this series that they just finished is the last time they'll play for this season until next year. So to go 12-3 against them, great, because you got to beat up on bad teams. So now, and now we'll go to the Tigers. The Royals are 3-6 against the Tigers this season. Last year, they were much better, but this season they just really haven't played the Tigers well. Now they do have three more. The reason I'm going to the Tigers next is because they are kicking off a series against the Tigers this weekend in Kansas City. So if they sweep, they have a chance to at least tie this season series. But I think they'll only win one or two, so they'll finish with a losing record against the Tigers, which, I mean, it's okay. At least you kind of made it close, although sort of doesn't feel like even if they do. And then against the Twins, you are 6-6, which you have one more series against them coming up later in September. So if you can take that series, you will finish with a winning record against them. And then against the Indians, which right now they are 4-5 against. Now they have a 4-game series again as well with them coming up in September. So if you can, I'm trying to think, 6, no. So they have to win that series if they want to finish with a winning record against the Indians. So, which ain't no matter the sport, but you want to play well and beat the team, which obviously, if you're a bad team, like the Chicago White Sox, you're kind of the punching bag in the division right now. But I don't care, even obviously for the White Sox, you want to compete and play well against your divisional opponents. Because even now with the balanced schedule, now you're playing them a little bit less than what was before, where you played 18, 19 games. Now it's only 15-ish, 12 to 15, 16-ish games against the teams in your division. So now you're still playing the teams in your division a lot more. But now with the balanced schedule where you're playing everyone, every single team, 30 teams, so all 29 teams, yeah, they cut out a lot of those divisional games. So, but any team coming into the season, you want to play well against your division. And the Royals, for the most part, have done that, not as good as last year, but still this year, they have been competitive against really outside of Detroit. I mean, like I said, even if they take 2 out of 3 and finish, 5-7 against the Tigers, and it looks a little competitive, at least record-wise. Now, again, good, but you know, you're competitive. Now I would have liked to see him be better against the Indians and the Twins. Although, and part of that with the Twins is like we've beaten them here, just we haven't beaten them up in Minnesota. So I would say more so with the Indians because I feel like the Royals are a much better ball club than the Indians are. So, but you do have a chance if you take 3 out of 4 from them in their last series against them this year to finish with a winning record against them, and same with the Twins if you take that series to finish with a winning record. So I'm hoping they can do that. And again, just finish strong and try and sneak into a playoff spot. Now, I'll get into their recap against the Chicago White Sox, as again, this was a must win series. You got to beat these bad teams. Again, it started frustrating because Monday night, they lost 7-0. I mean, that was like, I get Chicago, obviously, and like I say, and I know I'm not the only one. I mean, baseball's a long season, 162 game season. Every team's going to win 50. Every team's going to lose 50. So there's 100 games right there. It's what you do in the other 62 that makes or breaks your season, whether you're going to be a playoff team contending for the playoffs or a round 500 or sub 500 team. So the White Sox have 48 wins. So, I mean, obviously they're too shy with a month to go. So, again, every team's going to win 50. Every team's going to lose 50. But they're still not a good ball club. Now, again, I know this is sounding all gloomy, but we did take the series, and you had to take, like, you couldn't lose this series. So you took the series, which I predicted that they would at least take the series. I thought they could sweep. Now they didn't sweep, so it's a little frustrating. At least to me, it's frustrating just because, again, Chicago is not a good ball club, and they honestly flat out dominated the first game in 7 innings of this series. They flat out dominated, and the Royals looked lifeless, energyless, which was really surprising and frustrating, especially coming off the Tigers series. Like, yeah, that last game, yeah, they lost, but like that last game, okay, yeah, you gave up a 6-1 lead, but the way you came and battled back and just everything, like, okay, you were coming in with a little bit of momentum into this series, and it was like, all right, we're gonna go into Chicago and probably sweep, and then that didn't happen. Now, Shane Smith, I believe he was drafted first round or maybe second, maybe third round. I know he was a high round draft pick, which now like second and third round in MLB is a little bit different than like not that second and third round is bad like NFL, but it's a little bit because NFL you obviously only have 7 rounds. MLB there's 15. I know they've shortened it because it used to be at like 30 something rounds. So now I think it's like 10, between 10 and 15, somewhere right in there. So being like a top 5 round draft pick is really obviously first round is no matter what. Like if you're a first round pick, that's good. But even like second, third round is not horrible. Like that's a high round draft pick that you used on a guy. So I believe he was the first. He might have been, like I said, he might have been a second or a third, but he was really good coming out of Arkansas. So he earned being a top round draft pick. So I'm not saying that, but at least so far in his rookie season, he hasn't been that good. Now, again, he is a rookie, just like Noah Cameron. Not every rookie pitcher comes in and just absolutely dominates like all of Paul Skeens. You know, a lot do have growing pains, and then you see them really improve in their second and third year going forward. So, but he's not an ace. Like he's a middle of the road. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. Like he's a, second or third guy in a rotation type of guy. Now, again, I'm not saying anything. Like not every team can have 5 aces, you know? Obviously, would every team love that? Yes. But there's nothing wrong with being a solid number 2 or number 3 guy in a rotation. So, I would say he can be a solid number 2 or number 3 guy. But he was a guy the Royals should have gotten to, but didn't happen. Noah Cameron only went 5 innings, and he did not look. This was his second start in a row. He did not look all that good. So I'm hoping, and the White Sox should have been a team he should have bounced back against. So now, again, it's his rookie season. I'm not too overly concerned and worried because, again, every pitcher is going to have some rough starts, some rough stretches, and maybe, pushing him back a day, giving him an extra day rest. And again, I know you're trying to fight for a playoff, and he's been arguably your best pitcher, especially since Reagans has gone down. Reagans hasn't been his all-star self this year, but maybe skip a start. Have maybe Daniel Lynch start or something, and push Cameron back just to give him a little bit extra rest, just in case you do need him in the playoffs. You give him that rest. Now and again, I get it. You're fighting your stuff because you're not in a playoff spot right now. You're on the outside looking in. You're fighting to get in, and you're still close enough. Like, it's not like, okay, they're now 6-7 back. They're still right there for a playoff spot. So you do need to keep winning, and you need to pitch your best guys. And Reagans, I believe, is coming back here sometime at the beginning of September. So I think he's coming back in the next week or two. So again, with Reagans now, he must, because the rosters will expand here in September. They can add one hitter and one pitcher, and Cags is very much most likely going to be the hitter, and then Reagans is probably going to be the pitcher. Now, at least maybe until he comes up, it's someone else, and then Reagans would take their spot. So, like, when Reagans comes back, you can go 6-man with him, Lugo, Waka, Cameron, Berger, and maybe even you have Lorenzen. Sorry, Lorenzen. So yeah, you would have Reagans, Waka, Lugo, Lorenzen, Berger, and then Cameron. So you can go to that 6-man and give each guy an extra day rest. So, which I think is honestly badly needed, because over the last 2-3 weeks, starters really have not been going deep into games. Now, I'm not asking them to go 8 or 9 innings. Like, if they go 8 or 9, great. But at least give 6 and occasionally 7, or even get into the 7th inning. Now, Berger, and I'll get to it when I talk about last night's game. Berger did go 6 innings. So there haven't been that many starts from the Royal starters getting into the 6th inning. So the bullpen right now is overworked. They're tired. They're honestly exhausted, which is why I would say, especially in the Detroit series, why you saw Sam Long get a lot of innings, get a lot of work, because Schreiber, Lynch, obviously Harvey's on the IL, Urseg were overworked, and then you also Cruz is hurt. So you have injuries too, but you just have guys that are overworked. So today, with the day off, was so badly needed for this ball club to give those guys in the bullpen some extra rest, especially heading into this Detroit series. So now, if the starters can get back to going and I'm not saying just 5, like, they need to go into the 6th, they need to go into the 7th and help give that bullpen some extra rest, so that way you can go to Estevez more, you can go to Ursig more, you can, Schreiber more, you can go to your top arms more. Now, obviously, you're still going to need to pitch Lynch, Long, Bolin. Still need to pitch those guys, but the starters got to start going deeper into ball games here. So, like I said, hopefully Cameron bounces back in his next start, but that was a really rough start again, back-to-back rough starts for Noah Cameron. But obviously in a shutout game, there's not a lot to talk about with the offense. Now, their one scoring opportunity, big-time scoring opportunity, came in I believe it was the 4th inning. Sorry, I've slept since then. I believe it was the 4th inning. You had runners on what ended up 2nd and 3rd because Yaz hit a double and it would have scored a run. Yeah, I believe it was the 3rd or the 4th inning because they were down 3-0. And then the White Sox had a 3-run 4th that really put the game away out of reach. But so I believe it was either in the top of that inning or it was in the 3rd that Yaz hit a double, and then it turned into an automatic double because it went to the stands, which kept Isbell, I believe it was Isbell. It was either Isbell or India from scoring. Now, if that ball would have stayed in play, he would have scored because there was 2 outs in the inning, and then Bobby came up and grounded out. So then we didn't get anything, and that was their lone scoring opportunity in that game. Really, that were their best scoring opportunity, I should say. Then on Tuesday, kind of want to say with their backs against the wall, but kind of like don't want to say, but kind of like they kind of had their backs against the wall. They needed to win this game. So you're not facing a sweep on Wednesday and trying to salvage the series. Well, it sure didn't start that way. And again, it looked like they were lifeless, had no energy. The White Sox, again, put it on them. They scored 1 in the 2nd and then 3 in the 6th and were up 4-0. The Royals went the first 9, 11, 12, 16? Yeah, sorry. 16 innings in this series without scoring a run. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Again, playing the White Sox, who aren't a good team. Well, then the 8th and 9th inning happened, and oh my, the Royals made a comeback. They scored 2 in the 8th. And cut the deficit to 2 to set themselves even up for a comeback in the 8th inning. And then oh my. And then they got the shutdown inning in the 8th they needed to really give themselves a chance. But the White Sox absolutely collapsed in this game. And then with 2 outs, no, sorry, it was 1 out. You had the Michael Massey. And again, I like Massey. I hope he succeeds, but he has struggled. Well, he struggled before he got hurt, so he's just now coming back from the IL. had a huge 2 RBI single to tie the game. And oh my goodness, it was like, oh, thank you. Because there was one out. He could have grounded into a game ending double play and looking really frustrating. But oh my gosh, Michael Massey came through with a huge 2-run single to tie the game. Then that beautiful, beautiful man, Kyle Isbell, came up and hit a single to left to give the Royals the lead 5-4. And now the bases were loaded for Garcia and Bobby, and you would have liked to have seen them come through. And again, hindsight is 2020. They won the game 5-4, but both did not have good plate appearances. You know, just so you would have liked to have seen them add on, especially with only one out and the bases loaded, and you had your two best hitters coming up, but oh well. Now, Estevez came in and slammed the door shut and earned his, I believe, league tying or league, like not just American League, like MLB league leading 35th save, or at least tying 35th save. And he came in and absolutely slammed the door. Didn't give the White Sox any hope of coming back, though, for them to come back and win. So, oh my goodness, that game hung because it was like, oh my gosh, how are we losing to the White Sox? Like, in a must-win series, like what is going on right now? The White Sox completely collapsed in the 8th and 9th. And then the Royals absolutely took that and ran with it yesterday and completely just dominated the Chicago White Sox 12-1 to win the series. Now they did trail, so it was a little bit like, oh boy, okay, did last night even kind of mean anything? I know each game is different, but you can't you can take momentum from one game into the next. Not that a little bit easier, I'd say, because again you're playing every day. Not that like in football, even though the games are a week apart, not that obviously you can't carry momentum from one week to the next, because you absolutely can. But baseball, I feel like you can a little bit because, like, okay, boom, you played, and then now, like, usually 24 hours or less than 24 hours later, at least if you're going from the final, usually less than 24 hours later, especially if you're playing the next day, boom, like, there's that momentum you're talking. So it did feel a little bit like, oh boy, okay, did last night's comeback not spark anything? Oh boy, it did, because they had an 8-run 5th inning, and it was game over there. Salvi was El Capitan, just great performance. Ryan Berger picked up his first win as a Royal last night. And not that he hasn't pitched well enough to earn it now, but he just hasn't really had the run support to back him up. So, but he finally got his first win. So congrats. Hopefully there's many more to come. And then the Royals will now be kicking off a 9-game homestand starting tomorrow night against the Detroit Tigers. Now, obviously, you lost last weekend in Detroit. You lost the series. Now, the Royals are playing better at home now. Detroit's still good. So, again, I don't think I'm going to predict that they win, but I'll go over the pitching matchups. So, it's a lot of the same. It'll be on Friday night, you have Chris Paddock against Seth Lugo. And then Saturday, you'll have Ryan Flaherty against the great TBD. Man, I love TBD. TBD is undefeated. Okay, the Royals have not announced the starter yet for Saturday. And then Sunday will be which is why if they do take the series, I hope they win Friday. Even though I know they haven't announced, but if you can take Friday and Saturday, well, guess what? You got Tarek Skubal going Sunday for the Tigers. Now the Royals, not like they don't dominate him, but they have hit him a little bit. But it'll be Tarek Skubal going up against Michael Wacha. Now they have beaten him this year, and they have beaten him before, but he's obviously a Cy Young candidate for a reason. So hopefully they take that. But again, like I said, they're kicking off a 9-game homestand. They'll play the Detroit Tigers, the Los Angeles Angels, and then the Minnesota Twins. So, and again, keep winning the week. Last week, they did. They went 4-3. Okay, so far you're 2-1. So if now again with 6 games, you need to win 4 to win the week, but at least go 500. At least go 3-3 this week. But if you can find a way to go 4-2 by taking this series against Detroit, great. Now again, Detroit's really good. I get it. We're playing them at home, so and where the Royals have been a lot better, and they can ride that home because now at least when you were kind of they were playing good to end July, but kind of starting August, it's like, okay, are we going to be potentially in a playoff, be there trying to fight for a playoff spot at the end of August? So what's the attendance going to be look like against that in that Detroit series? Now, again, it is a weekend, obviously, and now in Kansas City, school has started up again. So weekday series, there's not going to be a lot of fans there, but this is a weekend series and a big-time opponent. So, and the weather, honestly, is really nice. So we could see I hope there's a really good crowd this weekend against the Tigers, all 3 games. So, and hopefully with that home juice, home crowd, the Royals feed off that and can find a way to take the series. But I'll say they only take 1 and avoid the sweep and at least go 3-3 this week. And again, on the homestand, so 9-game homestand, win the homestand, at least at the bare minimum. Now, again, Detroit's the best, and the Angels and Twins aren't that good. But at bare minimum, find a way to go 5-4. But I really feel like they need to go 6-3 or better. Now, I don't think they'll even come close to going 9-0. I mean, that would be sweeping. Not can they? Yes, but I'm gonna say they go 6-3, which is at least taking every series. But if they can go 7-2 and sweep one of the Angels or the Twins, great. If they can sweep both and take again and then end up 8-1, even better. But at least win this homestand. Go at least 5-4. Really, they need to go 6-3 or better on this homestand to continue being in that conversation for the playoffs. Now, the Atlanta Braves. They continued their utter dominance of the Miami Marlins. Now, they did lose Monday's game 2-1, and Strider actually looked a lot better. Now, can he, because he's had these starts before where he looks good and then he doesn't maintain, he doesn't build. So can he build on the success that he had this game against the Marlins and continue to improve since coming back from his injury? But really, the Marlins controlled and dominated the game. The lone highlight was a Drake Baldwin solo home run in the 9th. Now, it cut it to 2-1, but it still kind of felt like the Marlins are going to win this game. Now, the Marlins don't have a really good bullpen, so you still had that little glimmer that they could find a way to come back, but they weren't able to. Then they absolutely came out in game 2 and just dominated. Ozzy, we love him. He had 2 home runs in this game. Now it was close because it was tied 2-2 going into the ninth. And then, oh my, the Braves absolutely exploded for 9 runs and just ended the game. Like they gave the Marlins no hope of coming back. Although a little me, like just kind of being cynical, I guess, or pessimistic is the better word, was like, oh, please don't let this be like when they played the Reds and scored 8 runs and then immediately to take a lead and then immediately gave up 8 runs to tie the game. And the bottom left, I was like, oh, please don't let this happen again, because only the Braves would do that twice in a season. But hey, nope. They didn't give up anything, so they won 11-2 and just continued the dominance. So, and then yesterday, hey, they both, them and the Royals, won 12-1 yesterday. They just, oh man, they really took it to the Marlins again in a 12-1 game. And we continue to own the Marlins. Albies, again, hey, Ozzy, we love him. Had another home run and had 5 RBIs in yesterday's game. Now, I wasn't able to watch because I was at work, and this was a day game, so I wasn't able to watch the game. I mean, I, again, was following along on Twitter, on ESPN, checking the score update, but as far as actually watching, I wasn't able to, so I only saw the highlights. But and then Profar had 2 home runs as well, so the Braves just really laid it on the Marlins, and they took the series. Now, they will continue their 10-game road, or sorry, not road trip. Oh yeah, sorry, 10-game road trip. My bad. As they head to Philadelphia starting tonight for a 4-game series. Pitching tonight is Cal Control, again going up against Aaron Nola. Friday night, I said Saturday. Almost forgot what day it was, but today's Thursday, not Friday. Hey, it happens to the best of us. Sometimes we forget what day it is. So Friday night will be Bryce Elder against Ranger Suarez. Saturday, hey, the great TBD going up against Christopher Sanchez. And Sunday will be Hurston Waldrop against Jesus Luzardo. So, I mean, the Phillies are really good. They're not in first place, aren't in first place for no reason. So, I'm just hoping for a split, honestly, or at least not get swept. Like, even if you lose a series 3 out of 4. But if you find a way to go into Philly and win this series, great. Because you can kind of play a spoiler. I mean, I don't think they're going to now the deficit because if I look at the Phillies, because they're coming off, honestly, I think they did get swept. Yeah, they just got swept in New York by the Mets, which is a surprise. So their once like huge division lead has not gotten cut down to, I believe it's 4 or 5. I'll go over the standings here in a minute. So if you take 3 out of 4, now granted, I hate the Mets more than I do the Phillies. I can at least stand the Phillies a little bit because I like a lot more of the players on the Phillies. Like, I like Kyle Schwarber. I like Bryce Harper. I like Alec Bohm. I like Bryson Stott. You know, I like a lot more of the players on the Phillies than I do the Mets. So, in a way, I hope the Phillies, and I know I'm saying that as a Braves fan, and I might get crucified and slaughtered for this, go at it. I don't care. Hey, have at it. I'm a lot more of a Royals fan than I am Braves, but I still really love the Braves. I can just, at least me, I can stand the Phillies just a little bit more than I can the Mets. I absolutely hate the Mets. I loved when the Royals beat the Mets in the World Series in 15, because especially when the Royals went, I'm like, take that, New York. I don't like the New York teams in general. So if Philly wins this to like kind of really keep their division. I don't think. I mean, again, we got a month, 4 games. It's close, but it's like it would still take a little bit, not as big a collapse, but it would still take a collapse for them. So I kind of semi hope they take this series just to like keep some distance between them and the Mets. But if the Braves go in and take that, cool, you're beating up on your rivals. So hey, I'm not going to complain about that. But I hope the Braves can at least split, and again, just kind of finish strong, carry some momentum going into next season. But I do think, and the Phillies are good. I think Philly wins 3 out of 4 here. Now I will talk standings here. Yeah, I mean it's kind of floated between 8.5, 9.5, 10.5, being back of Detroit. But again, unless Detroit just has an absolute historic collapse. Now, if you sweep and cut it to 5.5 after this weekend, I mean, that's still a huge hill to climb, but I mean, it would still take a huge collapse. So, again, don't think the Royals are winning the division. They still maintain a 2-game lead on the Cleveland Indians. And then going division. Okay, so yeah, because Philly had it at like 7, 8 games. So yeah, now after getting swept, they're only 4 up on the Mets. But I think they'll still end up winning the division. Now, after this series win against the Marlins, the Braves are only 1 game back of the Marlins for 3rd place. So I hope they can overtake and catch them and finish 3rd in the division. And then looking at the wild card, it's Boston, New York, Seattle. And I mean, so you've only lost a game over the week. 2 out of the so the Royals are 3 back. They were 2 back at the beginning to start the week, so you've only lost a game, not horrible. So if you can kind of maintain that through the weekend and maybe even gain some ground depending on what Boston, New York, and Seattle do this weekend. But again, they're right there. So you have the Rangers behind you and the Indians behind you. So keep fighting, keep winning, keep stacking wins, keep stacking series wins. So we got a fun weekend of baseball and a fun weekend of college football. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.